Great. Hello, everyone. Happy full moon in Sagittarius. Today is quite a day. As I mentioned today in the Instagram post, every time I arrange an event, of course, there is some sort of logical resonance according to astrology. So it's just not random just for the sake of it. So Jupiter is about to enter Gemini. And I thought that just since there are like the very last bits, we are in this between state because it's at 29 degrees. So when a planet is at 29 degrees, we are in this liminal space in which we're about to leave the previous sign. We're getting ready for the next one. So I thought this was a good moment to talk about this. Plus, we're having this full moon in Sag, so it's a good moment to go into an inquiry about what we're doing, how we're doing that, how we're dealing with the things around us. Saying that, what we're going to do, we're going to spend the next hour together. We're going to look at Jupiter from a more general perspective, but also very personal. Who has been taking part to any workshops or classes with me, you know that I love to properly dig with your own chart. So I don't stay like, I'm not too generic. So the first invitation is, if you don't have your natal chart in front of you, go on astro.com. You can get a natal chart for free. So we usually use astro.com. Another good website is also Astrosic. So it depends what you like better. I prefer astro.com. You also get like free daily horoscopes. Second thing, we're gonna do a couple of like there is a writing exercise. So it would be great if you have a pen and a piece of paper. You can also use your computer, but and writing, it's brings something different. And since we are talking about Jupiter in Gemini, Gemini has to do with the way in which we're using our hands. My suggestion is to go a bit old school analogic, very 90s, using pen and pens. I feel like a dinosaur right now. It's like, people, let's use pens. So yeah, so these are like the only two things that we need. So your chart, paper, and pen. Actually, it's three things. Cool. Saying that, I'm going to explain you things. The invitation is to write down in the chat if you have any questions. I'm going to stop and check like every 5-10 minutes, and then we see how we go with the time. And if towards the end there is something that is not clear you want to ask, we're going to also talk about this. Alles good? All clear? Amazing. Okay, so let's start. So for those, again, are not very familiar, my presentation tend to be quite colorful because I get distracted by things that are quite like, yeah, just black or white. So if they look cuter, they look better. So we're going to talk about Jupiter. This class is suitable for any level. I could see that here we got like beginners, Astro Ninja, colleagues. So I'm just going to give like a quick introduction about what we're talking about. So every planet in astrology has a specific function, okay? So I work with modern astrology. We have more than 50 types of astrology. So there are millions of ways of working with planetary interpretation. But when we're working with modern psychological astrology, we are looking at each planet as a part of a personality trait. Maybe some of you are familiar with internal family system, in which there are all these small parts within all of us. And this is what we could see with our natal chart. It's like we have all these little voices. So we have Mercury, is the one which we're thinking. We're having the sun, is like it's the one which we are shining. So everyone adds his own energy. So first, like common agreement here is to accept that we are a way more complex and nuanced, and yeah, we don't have that much sense as we would love to think we do. Okay, because we have different parts of our chart. We tend to identify with some parts more than others. But today we're just going to talk specifically about this one that looks like a 4. If you look at Jupiter, this is Gaia, this is Saturn. So Saturn is basically the opposite way around. I don't know if you ever noticed that. Unfortunately, I cannot do this thing with the slide. I cannot turn it upside down. But if you just do this with your head, you will notice. So why is this interesting? Because basically Jupiter is the other side of Saturn. So we're talking about Saturn, we're talking about restrictions and boundaries and limits and karma. So since we're talking with Jupiter, today we got some good news. We are not talking about restriction, we are talking about expansion. We're not talking about privation, we are talking about spoiling ourselves. Of course, there are also limits there that we're going to look at in a minute, but with Jupiter, in general, we got good news. Okay, so Jupiter is spending around 1 year in each sign. Why is this important? It's still in Taurus for just a couple of more hours, and then it's gonna move to Gemini. Well, it's gonna spend 1 year, because it's like 1 per year, 12 signs, 12 years. Ta-da! So what is Jupiter about? Trust, luck, wealth, prosperity, abundance. It's really this idea, you know, if Jupiter would be a movement, it would be this one. If we are very Jupiterian as people, so what is a Jupiterian person? Someone that is optimistic, someone that is open, someone that is curious, someone that wants to learn a lot, maybe someone that likes traveling. This is also something that we can notice in our body, because astrology is just not mental, at least in the way which I see it. It's also very much embodied. So maybe like how big our tongue is, or if we are having some issues with liver, it has also a connection with the eyes. It has to do with our legs. So the relationship that we have with these parts of our body could tell something about our relationship with Jupiter. I have a strong Jupiter in my chart. I got quite strong legs, and also my body is quite big. Usually Jupiterian people, like, this abundance is something that you could see in your body, literally. If we think of a planet as a person, it's like, you know, the rich uncle, the cool one. I feel this myself when I go to my family at Christmas time, because, you know, I live abroad, I'm doing my thing, I have all these stories to tell, and I'm always bringing all this nice kind of weird toys to my nephews. It's like I was on a trip here and there, and I thought about it. This is Jupiter. It's the one that is bringing like all these stories, all these multicultural dynamics. If you have Jupiter in Sagittarius and Pisces, it's very comfortable. If you're having Jupiter in Virgo or Gemini, it's having a bit more of a difficult time. But now we're going to see, like, it just takes a bit longer to adjust to that. Okay, so why do we need to understand that Jupiter works? If you're looking for inspiration, if we want to find our inner philosophy, if we're having a crisis within like meaning, Jupiter is the place we want to go to. But as I was saying, each planet has a dark side or a shadow side. Well, Jupiter could be, you know, what happens when we are overly optimistic? Because it's like, yeah, everything's going to be fine. Yeah, but sometimes it can, like, yeah, I know everything. I know more than anyone else in the world. This is Jupiter. This is bold statements. So also people have strong Sagittarius, for example, in the chart, they might have this tendency. So it could get quite fanatic. You know, I'm so passionate about this. I'm curious about a philosophy. And then this philosophy becomes a dogma. This is the thing we need to be careful about Jupiter. Okay. Now, so these are like all the technical things. So today we want inquiry, your principles, the things you believe in, your intellectual filter into the world, because Jupiter, it's not a personal planet, it's a social planet. So it's really like about understanding how we're dealing with the community around us. Which are your moral principles? Which are your cultural principles? How do they work in your life? Where do you find joy? Where do you find abundance? What makes you happy? What is something that every time you do that, you just feel good about life? What is a place in which you have a very strong interest in your life? Jupiter is helping us with this question. So I have the first question for you. And my invitation is try not to skip this question. So I'm going to give you, like for this, I'm going to give you a minute and you can share this in the chat. So first of all, since we know that Jupiter has to do with this new intention, the seed that we are putting in the year to come, like from tomorrow until next June, which is the area of your life that you would like to expand right now? And this is a bit an invitation to think about that for a second, because astrology is connected to the society in which we are. Our society is very much focused on making money or material abundance. Because, you know, and I saw that, especially when I was promoting this, and I was talking with some people, like everyone was thinking about like strategies to make more money. Or, I mean, we also know that we are like in an economical crisis, like there are tons of things to consider. But if we are putting like this external pressure on the side for a second, in this moment of your life, would you like to expand on a material, social, or a moral level? So just take a minute to think about it. I'm just gonna put like a song very quickly, like 60 seconds. You can write this in your piece of paper. You can share this in the chat, whatever works better for you. Okay, so I'm just gonna read a bit in the chat. We got like different things, invitations, since we're gonna go back to this later, just put it like at a side note there. So we have immaterial, confidence, social, health, artistic side, material and social, connecting to work, material, romantic, and financial. So you see, we got different starting points. That's good. Material, because I always put aside in my life, I need some rest from struggles. So you see, we're having like this social connecting. Let's see where we're going to with this Jupiter. Now, Jupiter has been in Aries between 2022, 2023, still in Taurus, blessings, until tomorrow, and on the 25th is moving to Gemini, okay? So when we're working with astrology, it's always important, especially with prediction. So when we are looking at the future, we have to take a second to look at the past as a starting point. Otherwise, we don't have any point of reference, okay? So Jupiter has been in Taurus for the last year. The invitation has been to work around materiality. So finding stability, because Taurus is all these practical things. So materialism, comfort, my house, my diet, my clothes, my bank account. So for all of you that answered material, the first invitation is to really think for a minute, like how the last year has been for you. What did you learn around the world of materiality? Because this has been the invitation of Jupiter in Taurus. So let's think of our starting point, where we are at today, after this 1 year of Jupiter in Taurus. If you think about the area in which you expanded the most, what was it? Did something come true? There was something that you managed to achieve? And Taurus is about consistency. Is there an area in your life in which you manage to create a routine? Was it a way that helped you to become consistent? Did your financial situation change? And if yes, how? So for this, again, I'm just going to give you like, 1 minute. This is all like a starting point. I know this is a bit more like complex question, because it's just like, The problem is I see when I teach things around Saturn, because Saturn has to do with, it's not like negativity, but like the more difficult things that we're dealing with in our life. And people manage to relate with that very easily. And I see this when I do exercise visualization. Difficult stuff, my clients get attuned very quickly. When it's about to focus on the things that they say went well or expanded, it went well, so whatever. We're just moving on to the next thing. So let's think about all the material things, all the practical things, all the tangible things, all the 3D things that you managed to reach in the last year. What comes to your mind? So again, here you can use the chat. You can use your piece of paper and pen. Let's take 1 minute from that because we're gonna have to make the transition towards Jupiter in Gemini. Okay, so 1 minute to think about this. Okay, so I'm gonna share some of the things that you wrote. Moving countries, trusting there was enough money. Also, you could see, because it may resonate with some of you. It's like, oh yeah, that's true, also manage that. Healing and facing skeletons, abundance of teaching opportunities, art, bad situation with money, left full-time job, lost my well-paid job, got better with my finances, creating exhibitions, expanded on a personal level, balanced routine, moving countries. So here, all the things that we reached in the last year, meaning from May to May. So last Jupiter here. So there were some seeds that we had to work on last year. Now we want to work or implement something new. So out of the things you shared, my invitation is just try to expand and go beyond the things that you just shared in the chat. So let's see what happens with Jupiter moving to Gemini. So we know that Gemini has to do with communication, with being social, with being playful, with being restless, with being expressive, is around curiosity. Gemini has to do, when we're talking about Gemini, we have the twins, we go into this dynamic of the two. So in order for things to move, there is some sort of sharing. There is something that I need. It's not like the mirror, because that's Libra. Gemini is like, I have an idea, but in order for this idea to grow, I need to talk about this to someone else. So that's the most important thing. This is not a lonely energy. This is the most friendly energy of the zodiac. So for those of you who go strong Gemini in their chart, I could see some of you like, For those of you that go strong Gemini, well, now we know. You're the one that are entertaining the crowds. So let's see on a practical level which kind of investments we could do, because that's the cool thing about Jupiter. Jupiter works on a social level and on a personal level, okay? So when we're looking at the things on a personal level, we can also apply first on a higher, like macro perspective. So investments that we could do. Publishing, podcasting. So if you want to work with podcast, if we want to work with books, if We want to invest maybe in fashion design. So some of you have been thinking about creating like their own brand, or something that's to do with textiles, something that's to do with paper industry. So all these things that you're seeing here probably gonna have some sort of rise during the year. So if we are looking, for example, during the last time that Jupiter was in Gemini was between 2012 and 2013. And this was the time in which like Apple put the first airdrop, Touch ID, Netflix had this first TV show. So it was, you see, all this social stuff, because Gemini has to do with communication and transport. Other things, I have a long list of things. I was doing this research the other day. The Mars rover like landed to Mars, so we start looking at rocks. There was the first person that completed a human-powered circumnavigation of the Earth in 5 years. We break the sound barrier. So this is the topic we are working with: sound, words, and transports. So if there is something that you want to say to the world, if there is something that you want to publish, if there was something that you want to promote, airlines, different kinds of transportation. So this is going to be the initial part, I think, the trial part, to think about a mode of transport that is going to be completely new. That's going to get confirmed when Uranus is going to move to Gemini. This is going to be in 2026, so it's going to take a bit of time. But I think this is going to be the initial stage about a mode of transport that we could imagine before. Who knows? Intellectual property, cross-border e-commerce platform. So if any of you is in any of these businesses, this is your moment to expand. If you have a book in your drawer, you want to publish it, please go for it. That's the moment to go for that. If you're having some arts and you don't know to promote it, digital marketing, still gonna be all over the place in a nice way, because it's like it's been there, but with Jupiter entering, it's just gonna get bigger. And then next year, it's gonna get a bit less. So you see, it's like we want just to ride the wave of that, okay? So any podcast out there? So some strategies for abundance. So first thing that we want to do, we want to expand our ideas. We want to work on information intake. So we want to move from a material to a more mental approach, because this all last year was more about trying to find this practical foundation. Now, if the work or didn't work, the new strategy that we need to get there, we got to talk about this. So we're going to ask for opinions, because this is the idea. The more we practice the energy that Jupiter has, the easier expansion is. Okay, this is also your natal chart. So you could see also the sign in your natal chart. The more you practice the energy, I don't know, maybe you were born with Jupiter in Cancer. The more you take care of people, the more you feel joy, you expand, you give things, and something gets back to you. Maybe you have Jupiter in, I don't know, Virgo, Natalie, in your chart. So if you, like, the more you do things, or you're in situations, or you have a profession in which you're putting things in order, the easier it is to expand. So here by transit, we know that if we are exchanging ideas, if we are very curious and open towards new topics, because this is what Gemini is about, it's a bit like, it's a bit of everything. It's a journalist. I'm going here and does something, I'm going there and asking something else. Opportunities are coming through written channels. So we want to send the email. Maybe, no, but you know, they invited me last year and I never replied. Reply now. It's time. Or maybe there is this thing that, you know, I want to apply for a fund. Great. Let's write this thing down, because there are more chances that this is going to be considered. Okay. So we want to go from material to mental, and from a more protective energy, because this is what Taurus is about. You have to think that the following sign is always very different from the previous one, because they are different in element and quality. So Taurus and Gemini, two different dimensions. Because Taurus is like, okay, this is my garden, this is my house, this is my stuff. And Gemini is like, oh, yeah, you want to look at my thing? You want to see how it works? Or maybe we should exchange them and see how they both work. So networking, you gotta get out of the house. Because with Jupiter in Taurus was about painting your walls, getting a nice bookshelf. Done, people. That is done. We got there. We take part maybe also to courses or practices that are new to us. Look at the different, like, this is a very good moment to look at a bit of a personal CV, your personal experiences. It's like I don't know, if I go back in time, I've been teaching something like other things for many years. I was a reporter, and then I was a journalist. I mean, I changed many professions, but that's the thing with Jupiter in Gemini. Sit with all these things, because sometimes we have the tendency to look at the things that we've done in an earlier stage in our life as something that didn't make any sense, or we're just not aligned, whatever, it's in the past. We want to do a bit of creative recycling. It's like, yeah, I used to teach this thing. Oh, okay, how can this come back to my work in a different way? So what I would love you to do is to do like a mind map. So maybe you're writing in the centers, like my experiences, and then with some arrows, like this could be the homework for after this call, start thinking about all these skills, these social skills that you've been accumulating over the years. How can you use them? And welcoming cooperation. The more we cooperate this year, the easier it gets. I already got in touch with some friends that are doing like things that could be aligned with my work, but it's a different environment. For example, I'm going to work with a person that is specialized in business. I'm going to work with a person that is specialized in graphic design. It's this idea of in which way the things that I do could be welcomed in a different environment, creating more opportunities, okay? So think about the social resources around you. Now, we want to go even deeper with that. So if we are looking at your natal chart, we can detect which are the areas in which we want to bring this expansion. I also have a quick guide for the 12 houses that I'm going to put in the chat for those of you that are not familiar with the system at all. The message is too long. Okay, so I'm just going to do it in 2. So in astrology, we have these slices of a cake. So each slice represents a different part of your, okay, just put it in the chat. It represents a different area in your life. So the moment in which we look at your natal chart, we could see exactly where we want the expansion to take place. So for example, the house number 1 is about me, is about my image, is about my own expression. The second house is about self-worth, is about possessions. So I'm not going to go through this right now because we're going to review this together with Jupiter in the houses. So I don't want to repeat the same thing twice. So we're just going to look straight at that. So just for you to know, 12 areas, 12 topics. So let's see what we need to look at. Get your natal chart in front of you. So astro.com, you calculate that. So you should have in front of you something that looks like this. So this is the guy that we are looking for. This is Jupiter, okay? So the one that looks like a 4. And this is the sign of Gemini, okay? So it's this one with these 2 legs, the one that looks like a 2 in Roman numbers. So what I want you to do is to see where this sign is located in your natal chart. So let's take the example of this natal chart. So you see here it starts on the number 8. So it's part of the number 8 and part of the house number 9. Okay? So we have to memorize number 8 and number 9. I don't know which one is for your chart. For those of you that have no idea, since there are some nerds here, you can also put your chart in the chat and someone else here is gonna help you. So I got all the students that know about these things. So did you find where Gemini is in your chart? Which there is this thing on Zoom that now is automatically, it's so dramatic and it always appears in random moment. For Italian teachers, a nightmare. Okay, perfect. So you have it. Good. So look at the house, memorize that. Before we are going into the analysis house by house, just one kind of warning, Achtung, attenzione, be careful. Wherever Jupiter is, could just generate a lot. So this is the area in which we want to do a lot during this year, but also watch out for a much, because maybe you may not deliver as much as you want, because as you say, Jupiter is very enthusiastic. Yeah, we got this, so it's fine, so it's good. But maybe you don't have all the resources, because you could be the flaky one. And then I go to Uta and I'm like, yeah, we could do this project, then we could do this other project, blah, blah, blah. And then nothing is happening because Gemini is a bit of a distracted energy. After 10 minutes, we're going to the next thing, okay? So, and we may have these difficulties in making decisions. So this place you could get a bit chaotic because this is one of the two areas, I'm gonna show you also a second area, that is gonna be under examination. So the house in which is Gemini, we need to amplify and give attention to this specific area. The more we do about it, the more amazing things can happen in there. Okay? So, memory lane, we go back for a second. And then we're gonna look at Jupiter in the houses. Jupiter was in Gemini 12 years ago, because we already learned that Jupiter is going back to the same place every 2 years, okay? Usually everything, so it's like a story in episodes when we're working with astrology. So when I work with my clients, I usually ask some specific things about some moment in time. So there is something that we left in that moment in time. What happened? What is something that you remember about those times? Something about your social life, about you moving around, about meeting people, about a big change? What comes to your mind? Was that an easy moment of your life? Which kind of decisions did you have to take? Because whatever happened back then is a very good clue to what we're bringing in this year. So I was doing this exercise myself because I don't cheat. I apply what I preach. So I was sitting, I was like, what I was doing back then is like 12 years ago. There was the moment in which I moved, I relocated to a new country. There was the moment in which I finished my studies, I finished my postmaster, and then I relocated somewhere else. And now it's very interesting because I'm in a moment in my life in which I'm finishing other studies because it's the way it is. There are some other things that we are studying. I'm going to finish these other studies. And I'm also wondering because I just relocated to this new country. So part of me is like, okay, do we want to go elsewhere? But it's in the house of close things. So maybe it's a new city or maybe a new neighbor because I'm going to have to move flat. So I'm like, okay, maybe it's going to be a different neighbor. So just try to think, what happened back then? I moved to Berlin and my daughter was born. And now I moved to this new place and I left my child in Berlin. I was studying, I got into a long distance relationship. I didn't like the school program and it was a tough year. I traveled to India, I found Buddhist teachings and I moved to another country. I started to work with a very nice group of people in a vegan company, had lots of fun. So all these things that are coming up could be the initial point of a story. So I want you to think when these things happen in your life, are you satisfied about that? Or do you have some regrets about it? Is this like something that was left a bit incomplete, because if that's the case, this is the moment in which we can add a new layer to that. If not, it's fine. We just can expand even on an higher level. So it always depends the kind of inner work that we are doing. No regrets, but learnings. Amazing. That's what Jupiter is all about. It's all about learning things. I was in a part of England I didn't like, and I went back somewhere I felt it would be a better place to live. And now I'm not sure I will be staying here. Oh. Someone maybe is moving again. So let's look at the area in which Jupiter is right now. So let's look at Gemini in your chart. This place is going to be overstimulated. So I want you to look at the area from 1 to 12. It also could be more than one house. Consider all the pro and con in a practical way. It's like, okay, let's say it's in house number 3. Is it the house of writing? Oh yeah, I want to write this and that. I want to go to this and that place. I want to do this and that research. Breathe in. We look realistically at the things that we could do. We choose 3 or 5, you know. I'm not saying choose one, because Gemini doesn't like one. It loves multiples. It likes multitude of things. But instead of doing 3,900 to 104 projects, maybe we choose 10. Maybe we choose 5. So this is the place in which we want to commit to the next year. It's like, okay, this is a place in which I'm committing myself to learn and to grow. Which are the things that are going to help me? Which are the things that are not going to help me? What is a list of things I want to do around that? So going back to the houses, let's look at how this is going to look like in the 12 houses. So if Gemini is in your first house, meaning you're also Gemini ascendant, so this is quite strong for you, because this transit, especially if you're a Gemini or you have a moon in Gemini or you have an ascendant in Gemini, stronger. So this is a moment, the first house is about our confidence. So new opportunities, new beginnings, new projects, also new image. Because, you know, it's like, yeah, I look cooler, I look better. So maybe you want to take like, new pictures for your website, because you look at the ones back, it's like, oh God, I look so tired there. It's like, no, we're bringing more joy. Maybe you've been doing the same thing at work for ages. Maybe you have your own business, so you've been offering the same program over and over. New ideas, new projects. It's like, this is a very nice boost of positivity, because we can do everything, some sort of vibes. So if any of you has Jupiter in the first house and start having idea about the things that they would love to do, please share this in the chat. Disclaimer, the first house is also the house of how your appearance, how you look like. So sometimes something that might happen, since that we love to expand, is not just metaphysical, it's also physical. So there could be a bit of an expansion. If you go Saturn in the first house of the transit, you lose weight. I lost 10 kilos. So my mom has the same thing. It's just like, go Saturn makes things dry, right? Jupiter is like, no, we chill, we take space. So we can take space in different ways. If Gemini is in your second house, this is the cha-ching. This is the cha-ching place. It's the place of material things. It's the house of money. It's the house of my own possession. So we feel more valuable. We feel treasured. We feel that we can make maybe some investments, because the second house is an investment maybe on myself. You know, there was this course that I really wanted to do. There was this place that I really didn't want to go. You know, in my work now, I want to implement the quality. And instead of selling, I don't know, just the printing like this, I had this idea that now they should have like some sort of gold frame to make it cooler. Yeah, this is the moment to do this. So we want to focus on our material world. We invest. You know, the second house has to do like with money in general. Also could be, I don't know, the lottery. Same thing has to do with the fifth house. Second and fifth, I'm playing with that. So whatever investment you want to do, it's very welcomed, but it's an investment, Gemini. So, you know, want to do like something nicer, but maybe we want to find new people to work with or new places where we want to promote our stuff. Or we want to talk to someone about the ideas that we have. This is not Aries. It's not like, yeah, I have my own idea, I'm just gonna go off with that. No, we want to check in first. If Jupiter is transiting your third house, chatty. So that's the place of communication. So learning opportunity, teaching opportunity, writing opportunities. So the third house, everything has to do with research, with writing, with short trips, with exploring your environment. Maybe you've been having issues with your siblings or with your neighbors. Peace, because that's what Jupiter brings. So all these areas I'm describing, maybe you've been struggling with before, they could get a bit easier. Fourth house. Fourth house is the house of home. So home improvements, more bonding with your family, strengthening the roots, working on your ancestry, talking about your ancestors, putting like some pictures on the wall, working on your emotional states. Like, yeah, what do I need in my home in order to feel better, to feel more supported? Maybe you want to buy a place. That's a good time. Maybe you want to move to a place that is a bit bigger. Maybe you want to make your place a bit more luxurious. All these things are very much invited. Then we are having the fifth house. The fifth house, house of creativity. So this is the ultimate combination of artistic transmission. Art, music, fun projects, playtime. So this is the moment in which we want to play with things. Also, this is the house of children. So of course, you know, we always have to look at your natal chart for more specifics, but this could bring fertility. It also could bring some playfulness, because the fifth house is also the house of flirting or more like casual encounters. It's like, we're gonna go there, are you gonna find out? So it's like we're in this more explorative phase, or anything that involves children in general. So, or youngsters, because the fifth house is like, is the youth. So yeah, I want to do a course for children. Great, amazing. Then sixth house. The sixth house is the house of health. So having Jupiter transiting that, very good, because maybe if you've been having some issues with health, it can help. But always remember, Jupiter expands, exaggerates. So maybe if you're having issues with diabetes or sugar, let's be careful about that, because Jupiter amplifies whatever is there. So we can feel fitter, we can feel more productive, because the sixth house is about our daily routine. It's like, I wake up, I have a shower, I go to work. So maybe we want to help others. The relationship with our co-workers can get better. And again, is the intention to connect with the environment. So maybe you've been going to work and since COVID, you haven't talked to anyone. Jupiter transiting your sixth house, invite your colleague to have lunch together. Or improve your work conditions, maybe ask for a raise. I've been working so hard, I'm so cool, everyone loves me at work. Because you have to think that like Jupiter is bringing this right time, right place. It's like kind of, if you believe in that, because it's the planet of faith. So if you believe in that, the universe is going to support that. But if we don't try at all, well, bummer, right? So we want to focus on our daily life. Then seventh house. So the seventh house is the house of relating. Now, this may mean that we can meet someone that's gonna help to expand. You know, it's not Saturn, it's like a karmic relationship is coming, a strong bonding, you're gonna get like someone that is expanding something within us. So teamwork, cooperations, you know, here we were talking about doing things with others. Here is like it's on steroids. So if we are having Jupiter transit in the seventh house, it's even more important. You want to sign a contract, you want to start something, great. Like maybe you started a new business and you have to deal with all the papers, perfect. So everything that has to do with the negotiation it's on your side. Maybe you are having a pending case against someone. This is a very good transit to have. Then we're having the 8th house. So when we're working with the 8th house, has to do with financial things, intimacy, sexuality, mystical, magical. So if you want to co-create something with someone with the money on it, because the 7th house is like, yeah, we do a project together. 8th house is like, we put money together. That's a different energy, Scorpio energy. If you want to study something more mystical, tarot, astrology, records, all the possible modalities you can think of, this is what we may call like a spiritual emergency or a spiritual opening with Jupiter entering the 8th house. These are the moments in which we can see things or we can have messages. So if that's your case, you're not going mad. It's all part of the protocol. You're doing great. So invite this exploration. 9th house, traveling, going far, having spiritual teachers, develop a spiritual practice, because like Jupiter is naturally connected to the 9th house. So here, this is the moment in which we are ready like to learn and get more information, become teachers, getting teachers as well. And then we got the 10th house. The 10th house is that of career, public, vocation, so fame, recognition, professional dreams. We're going up the ladder. Maybe you've been waiting for some news. Maybe you want to apply for a job. Great. This Jupiter is gonna help you with that. Of course, we look at the overall chart, but we want to invest in our career in this moment of our lives. 11th house. It's the moment to become a social butterfly. We meet friends, we join fun groups, like we want to be part of something that has more people involved. You know, it's not 11th house is like, it's this. This is an 11th house experience, like people that are coming from different places. Community, or like doing something with the community, get involved into something exciting, thinking about like, yeah, what is the biggest dream that you have when you were 4? Let's see how can I get that, because I'm not 4 anymore, but now that I'm an adult, I have more possibilities around that. Support from friends and allies. Who are the allies in your life? Work with them. And then we go to the 12th house. The 12th house is always a bit specific because it's all the house of the things that haven't been mentioned before. Things you can describe, things you can detect, things you can limit, and things that you can see. So they could be shamanism, it could be spirits, it could be collective unconscious, it could be undoing. Yeah, all these sort of things. So when we have the planet of spirituality entering the house of connection to other realms, it's about working within ourselves. So maybe we want to go to a retreat. Maybe we want to develop like some specific meditations. Or we want to look at unconscious parts of ourselves. We want to work with our dreams. We want to get engaged, like we want to engage into some things that has to do like with charity. It's like everything that is connected to something bigger than you is going to help you to expand. But the 12th house is not about you. It's about everyone. The first house is about me. The 7th house is about me and you. The 12th house is about love, the world, the oneness, the ocean. Yeah, that's the vibe. So as I mentioned, there are like 2 areas. So the other thing I want you to look at, that's the trick. Yeah, Georgia, but okay, we have to talk about things in this part of our life. We have to become social. But which topic should I focus on? Gemini is connected to the planet Mercury, right? So if you look at the place in your chart where Mercury is located, these are topics we want to focus and talk about. So for example, you know, maybe you're having Jupiter transiting your 10th house. So it's like, yeah, there is a promotion at work, you want to expand at work, but your Mercury is in the house number 6. So maybe, and the 6 is the daily life. So the thing you want to focus at your work is how you're dealing with your daily life. What is the relationship with your co-workers? Or, you know, like we want to combine these two areas. I could see some of you that are like, like someone else asked, it's like, okay, I got Jupiter entering my 7th house. So this means I'm gonna meet the love of my life, maybe. But if your Mercury is in the 11th house is the house of friendships. So maybe here it's about meeting new friends before anything else. And then you can also meet other people. But Mercury is giving you like how to get even more clear around it. For example, in my case, it's transiting house number 3, house number 4. So number 3, you know, I start writing the book and I'm like, no point to stress with that. I'm gonna wait for Jupiter entering Gemini. My Mercury is in house number 12. So it's about talking about spiritual things, about astrological things, about karmic stuff. You see the connection? Is this making sense yeah? So with the second one, you see it's here. I can also write in the chat the list of the 12. So Mercury is this one with the horns. So look for it. So these are the 2 areas we want to play with. So where is Gemini in your chart? And where is Mercury located in your chart? These are the 2 main topics we are going to work with, okay? Are we talking about natal Mercury? Yes. Where is Mercury in your natal chart? So let's see, for example, in this chart, Mercury, like Gemini is in the 9th house. So it's about exploring philosophy and studying and traveling. And then Mercury is in the house number 3. So here, you know, this year it's all about like studying, sharing information, learning things, being a student and being a teacher, asking opinions to other students, ask opinion to other teachers. And we put these 2 together. So now that we got like these 2 areas, I want to invite you to make a plan. And again, this is starting point. These are all inputs. The people of you that got strong Mercury probably is going to work for half an hour. Some other people that just need 1 minute. Think about a new subject or skill that you want to explore in your life. Because now that Jupiter is about to move to the new sign, we are setting the intention. So be careful about the things we are wishing for. What is the subject or the skill that you want to explore? So here, we give it a minute, put another nice song, just start thinking. And then the invitation is between today and also tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. Think about all the practical things, but especially the contacts that we need to get there. What is something that we would like to learn? And get help. Look at where is Jupiter and Mercury in your chart. Where is Gemini and Mercury in your chart? It's like, what it could be something in those areas that I want to invest or I'm ready to talk about. I'm ready like to deliver a message to the world. I can choose just one. That's fine. That's completely fine. Because as we said, it's important that we measure, because with Gemini, we're going to have multiple ideas. It's not Taurus. I don't expect you to be like, I want to buy a house. No, no. It's fine. It's like the more things, the better. And that's the invitation. I just want you to really explore all these resources. George, I want to learn pottery. Great. Have you look at schools, local groups? If a friend of yours already done it, like this is the work that we want to do with Jupiter in Gemini. Okay. And then I have a second question for you. I want you to think about your social goals. So think about a challenge that you had lately with someone. What happened? Is there something you could have done in a different way? So in terms of communication, because we know that this year is about communication, okay? But communication is a rich topic. So do we need to work on our listening skills, on our clarity, on our empathy, of understanding nonverbal clues, conflict resolution? What is the one for you? That's a good question. Okay, so we go listening skills, clarity, empathy. So with this, start thinking. And also here, you can write in your journal, or you can share this in the chat. What is the one? I have a bit of an advantage because I've been thinking about this yesterday. Maybe you are good in everything is fine. You can also think like, what is the part that you want to invest the most on? You know, it's about listening, it's about talking more, it's about sharing more, it's about learning how to shut up more. Where you're at. Yeah, so here you see we got all different answers. So we got listening, we got clarity, we got consistency, being less emotional, clarity. Take some time to think about this, because this, since it has to do with Gemini, it's also important that we understand where we are at with the message that we want to deliver. Because if that is not clear for us, then it's not going to be clear also for the people around us, right? So for people that got planets in air, Gemini, Aquarius, and Libra, there's going to be a strong stimulation for all of them. It's going to be a bit stronger for Gemini and Aquarius for two reasons. First, because Jupiter is in Gemini. Second, because Pluto is in Aquarius. So Aquarius is a bit more under some changes at the moment. So we're having this stimulation. If you have planets there and you feel that there is something that you've been cultivating and you want to talk about, yeah. For the planets that are in fire signs, especially Leo and Aries, not as much Sagittarius, because Sagittarius is the opposite of Gemini, so there is still a bit of friction. But if you got planets in Leo and in Aries, we could give it a bit of a push, because Jupiter is sending a bit, not a strong kick, but there could be some synchronicities, some opportunities that are a bit more subtle. So you see, if you got planet in air, it's like, okay, you got this proposal, now you want to write this book, like, oh, okay. With the in fire, I know a friend of a friend of a friend, let's call this friend. So these planets are ready to be seen, because when you're looking at your own chart, the whole chart is not always active. Some planets are sleeping, some others are more present because of this, because of the transits. So if you've been having planets in Gemini, but you feel in the last years, you haven't shown up yourself out there much, you don't have many friends, like you're getting a bit more as an introvert, well, this is about to change. If you have planets in Sagittarius, Virgo, and Pisces, there's gonna be a bit of a review. We were talking about this part of Jupiter that could be a bit realistic, right? That, yeah, we're gonna make everything's fine. No. These areas of your life, you just have to do a bit of a check-in. So if you have planets in Sagittarius, it's like, okay, you got these great bigger ideas. Who do you need to get there? If you're having planets in Virgo, it's like, okay, we want to have some structures into place, but also we need people feedback. What do they think? If we are having planets in Pisces with the Jupiter, is asking us, it's like, what, in which direction we want to move, just like we really need to get out there, because Pisces is a bit the Lulu. And I say this with lots of love. I have a moon in Pisces, Venus in Pisces, all the Piscean is like, yeah, we all know. We don't get offended. We know we are. So that Gemini is like, yeah, but we have to go from the 6th dimension to this upper spiritual bubble to here, because Gemini is like, come here. So let's talk to people, because the problem with Pisces is that, yeah, because I want to do this to help people. See, you want to help people. How's gonna look like? Okay. Yeah, you see Mars in Gemini. This is gonna be a great push. If you go, yeah, Mars, Venus in Gemini, very good for you. So there is one more thing that I want to give you today. Is about some special dates during the year, if you want to plan things or if you don't want to plan things. So first of all, there are like 2 dates that are a bit tricky. That there are the 19th of August and the 24th of December. It's going to be so much fun this Christmas time with our families. Oh dear. So what's happening? Jupiter and Saturn, they're gonna have a bit of a struggle. So the planet of expansion and the planet of restriction gonna have different opinions. So on one side, we want to take your time, and on the other side, they're just gonna rush it. So if you have a project, you feel you're not there yet, and maybe it's June, and you're like, yeah, I'm just gonna have done this by the end of August. My suggestion, take a bit of time. Don't rush it. There could be some issues on the way. You maybe talk to some people, and these people are going to disappear. There's going to be other people out there. Stay creative, stay open. Gemini loves flexibility. So imagination, determination, but during these dates, so 17, 18, 19 of August, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, if you want to launch something about these Gemini topics, so about, yeah, books, or I wouldn't choose these dates personally. I said what I said, up to you. Now I'm going to give you the good dates. So the good dates for 2024, good dates for 2025. So first is today. This is the reason why we're meeting up today. Like Jupiter, Venus, everything is like it's good vibes, but the day's almost over. So, well, Georgia, you could have told us a bit earlier. But the next good date is the 4th of June. So the sun is going to be next to Venus, and Venus is the planet of beauty, and Mercury is going to be with Jupiter. So the 2 planets of communication got to be together. Big ideas, brainstorming. I was even thinking to do the workshop. I was like, that date would be perfect. But it's like, it's too far away from the actual thing. So if you want to do some things with friends, if you want to have meetings, if you want to have a meetup, this is a great date to do it. Then we got the 21st of July. With these special dates, I'm going to send them to you with the recording. So don't worry, don't have to, I'm going to send you these 2 slides also with the hot ones. So you just can put all of them very nicely, your organizer at your own time. So the 21st of July, Venus makes us a style with Jupiter. So expansion, socializing. 7th of August, same thing. These are also social dates. We want to meet people. We want to do things. 13th of October, very nice. If there are some projects that maybe you are starting and you're not managing to deliver in August because you're not there yet, it's okay. 15th of September, 13th of October, there is time. There is time. We don't rush. We don't stress. Because this is the other side of Gemini. Mercury is quite a mental energy, and Mercury is a bit anxious because it's like, we could think a bit too much. 3rd of November. So It's a good time if you want to indulge, or maybe you want to go on a trip, you want to arrange something special. And then we got the 20th of December. So you see, before the Christmas interesting square, we got some warmth. So we have some peace before the storm. So these are some dates I may suggest you to use if you want to do anything social with people. The other one, 2025. So we got the 30th of January. So we got the planet of being and the planet Jupiter expansion that are meeting up. So lots of opportunities. 3rd of February. You have big dreams, you want to launch something, you want to do something, great. 3rd and 4th. It's very nice because you see this entire week is on fire. So, and I'm already thinking like I want to do some things next year around this. I don't know yet what that is, but because yesterday I was writing this, I was like, we should use this. 20th of February, Mercury squaring Jupiter. It's just like, it's a good moment like in which you want to stretch your mind, or maybe you want to do something with someone that is coming from a different environment. You want to bring things together. And then we have in the 4th and the 8th of June, good vibes, inspiration. And then we are done, because on the 9th of June, from Gemini, we're going to move to Cancer, and it's going to be a complete different business. So people that go strong water, it's going to be our times, it's going to come. Also strong air, no complaining. So this is the moment in which we want to go into our social spaces. Okay. Yeah, the 9th of June is moving to Cancer. So practical things to do, less homework. Find ways to be listened to. Take the initiative. Send the email. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Send it. Worst case scenario, they're not going to reply. Reconnect with friends you haven't talked to. You haven't talked to them because of life, capitalism. Write them. Check libraries. They still exist. Go out and find out the last free spaces out there. So until they exist, enjoy them. Enjoy them. Throat chakra, since we're working everything that has to do with the throat, public speaking classes, mantra singing, breath work, great activities, debate club, storytelling events, improv theater workshops, everything that makes you play, makes you move your hand, makes you sing, or makes you breathe. These are the main things that you may need right now. And last invitation, handwriting. Write it all, because lots of ideas gonna come up. And that's the thing, Gemini is quick. You know, when we're looking at Gemini as an archetype, Hermes got his wings on his feet. So it's like, pew, pew. They come and they go. So I always have a very, very small note thing I go around with, in which I'm just writing my notes. I have strong Mercury in my chart, as you can see. We suggest you to do the same. So that's the question. Find ways to be listened to. Find ways to play with your voice. Find ways to write down all the things that are going on with you. Okay? We want buddies. We want flirting. We want comedy shows. We want fun activities. Less focus. Because Gemini doesn't even know how to focus. Wonder. So create situations in which you can wonder, in which you can share your opinions, not stuff that is too restrictive or Saturnian. That's for another time. That's not for today. So these are all inputs we can work with, you know? So just think about it. How can I start this journey? Because the way in which we start a process with a new planet is gonna give us the whole vibe for the entire year. Okay, so it's important that we start to think about this now so we can use it fully. You know, so it's a very practical thing. Saying that, I want to leave like 5-10 minutes maximum for people that have to go, they can go. But if you have any questions, I'd be very happy to answer to them. Is there something that is not clear? I mean, if everything was super clear, I'm really glad. It means that I've done my work today. So it is important where Jupiter is located or where Gemini is located in our chart. It's important where Gemini is located in your chart and where Mercury is located in your natal chart. Okay? So house or houses in which Gemini is, house in which Mercury is. Any other questions or clarification? How do we mix the theme of the year with Gemini in the 4th house and the 5th and Mercury in the 9th? So 4 and 5th has to do with your foundation. It has to do with fun. It has to do with creativity. So, you know, with the 4th and the 9th, we could think about, first of all, looking at your own space, if there is something that you would like to change. You know, with Gemini also could be maybe if you have flatmates, so there could be one thing. 9th house, 5th and 9th is like the way in which you want to be creative, some things that we want to study, for example. 4 and 5th also has to do with family and children. So Natalie, I don't know if you're into that, if you're interested into procreation, that could be another option. Or for a 5th, like it could be creativity that has to do with like other cultures, but you don't need necessarily to travel because of the 4th house. If I have Gemini in the 12th house and my Mercury sitting there too, does it make Jupiter transit stronger in the area? Yes. Yes. Yeah. Which house count when Gemini is in 2 houses? Both. They both count in different moments in time. So the first part of the year is going to be in the first degrees, is going to be the first house in which it is. And then the more it goes, the more is going to be the second one. You talk about the planet will be activated. What about planets in Capricorn? Will it be influenced? The signs I haven't mentioned is because they are not as strong. Because like there is a very specific geometry when we're talking about astrology. And Capricorn is an earth sign and it's a cardinal. Gemini is mutable and it's air. Like they have no point of contact. So planets in Capricorn, they can rest for now. They are not the one that have to do some work. So we have Gemini, 6th and the 7th house, Mercury in the 1st. So it's about health, personal growth in these areas. Yes. So 6 and the 7 is about taking care of your health, taking care of your relationships. And that with Mercury in the 1st is like putting a focus on you and what you need in your work, what you need in your relationship, and communicate that, talk about it. Gemini in the 2nd house and Mercury in the 11th. What is a good approach? So we want to do maybe investments or projects with friends. Maybe we want to ask some associations to do things together. Maybe we want to collect some foundings. With 2 and 11, it's literally to make money, you need people. Like this is very easy. And you see, when we're looking at this, I want to keep it simple, but you have to look at your own natal chart, because let's say, now I'm answering Guta, like if there is a person that has lots of planets in the 11th house, for example, I'm an Aquarius. If I will have this transit, Aquarius is already very social. It would be quite easy. So always look at the economy of your chart. It's like it's something, you have a Mars in Gemini, so that's your energy. It's like, so we're doing good. Same question as Natalie. I have Gemini, 10 and 11, and Mercury in the 12. So 10 and 11, we want to work with your career and finding coalition, finding allies, finding other people to work with, and maybe asking for a promotion at work. And the 12th house is to look at all the ways in which you don't manage to talk, because the 12th house is it's inner stuff. So if there are some things you're scared about to talk in the area of career and the area of friendships, it's the moment to bring this out. Great. And then we got Gemini in the 10th and 11. Yeah. So again, 10 and 11, work and friends. So this is the idea. Super. Yeah. One more thing as I write here. If you want to study with me for some reason, I offer courses. They're going to start in September because the courses are about to end and this teacher is going to have to rest eventually. So we're going to start in September. There is a foundation course for the ones that know already about planets, houses, and aspects. There is a karmic course. It's very nice. It's very deep. You're going to cry. We're going to cry. I also cry. If you're like, George, I'm really not into groups. I don't have time. I have my own life. I also teach one-on-one. So if someone is interested in that, just let me know. So these are my offerings. Cool. I'm checking if there is something that I'm missing. Just wondering, I'm reading the last one. Is it possible that this energy already started to ripple before the official transit because there's been a lot happening of alignment with the new chapter? It always depends from your natal chart. Because, in your case, there may be other specific things going on in your life. Because if we're looking at the planets, all the planets have been in strong Taurus placements lately. So for people that go strong Taurus in the chart, the last month probably has been quite interesting. Let's put it that way. Yeah, because see people that go strong Taurus are like, yeah. So have 29 moon in Taurus. So literally Jupiter and Venus are on your chart right now. So whatever desire of expansion you have, sit with it today, because it's like it can be stronger than that. Cami, do you have a question? Did you raise your hand? Yeah, tell me.
Hi. I was wondering if the course that you're doing on the karmic stuff, you're gonna repeat the year after, or it's just this September?
It's usually every 18 months, is every year and a half.
Every year and a half. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Cheers.
Thank you. I'm not in the UK. I'm in Spain. I moved to a warm place. Yeah, you see here, all the stellium in Taurus, people that go strong Taurus can confirm. Yeah, but it could be that something started earlier. For example, for people that have strong Pisces in their chart as well, because Saturn is in Pisces. So it's bringing lots of tests. It's not like Jupiter. It's not that fun. So for people that go strong Pisces, there is a lot to explore at the moment. Okay, I'm looking at the questions. If I didn't miss anything. Vediamo. Perfect. You're writing nice things. Very good. Thank you. Yeah, it was very nice to organize this. Okay, got the last one from Francie. Gemini in the 12th house and the first. Oh, so you see, you got two. Nice. Mercury in the third house. So 12, first house, spirituality, collective things, self-undoing. So for all of you that got stuff in the 12th house, do spiritual work, shamanic work, energy work, hypnotherapy, whatever that is, because the 12th house is the deep unconscious stuff that is so deep down. It's really difficult to deal with that on your own because you don't know what you're looking for. You're in this dark room looking for something and it's just dark. So a Mercury in the third, we want to talk about things. It could be talking to a sibling, focusing on your own message, focusing on maybe there is something that you want to write or you want to do, but it's really, first and third house are very self-focused. So everything that's to do like with you, putting yourself first. Maybe someone else has another idea. It's proper. Fight for the things that you want to say. Cool. Amazing. So saying that, I send you all this very soon to be Jupiter in Gemini blessings. I suggest you to go back to the things that we've been talking about. If you want to spend a bit more of thinking like Gemini loves, and start thinking about your allies, people you want to work with, people you want to talk to, and people you want to contact from your past that also could be helpful for your future. Amazing. So I will send you the recording. I will send you the dates. Send you lots of love.
Thank you, daughter.
Thank you. Ciao. Bye.
It was great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.